السلام عليكم إخواني وأخواتي المقبلين على اجتياز مباراة تعليم بالتعاقد. Welcome guys again in this new video concerning always teaching didactics. This video is mainly devoted or accounted for assessments or classroom assessments. It involves two parts. This is the first part. We'll see the definition of assessment types or types of assessment, and the other issues concerning assessment I will leave it until the next video, the second part. So let's turn on this presentation quickly. Are you ready? Let's go. So we'll begin with the definition of assessments. Actually, I highlighted for you some keywords in order to attract your attention and keep them in your memory in order to memorize them. So what is a classroom assessment for you? Let's give you the definition. It is the process whereby teachers gather information about or data about students' performance, knowledge, ability in a given domain. It is clear. Let's move to the second point. On the basis of this information, teachers may decide to adjust their teaching methods in students. In the part of the students may consider rectifying their learning strategies. Let's have an example. A teacher administers an exam to an average class and notices after correcting their tests that most of the students scored bad marks, had bad marks. So, as a consequence of the bad result of his or her students, this evidence will incite the teacher to reconsider his or her teaching methods. The teacher tries to revise, to go over his or her teaching methods and approaches, and perhaps improve or change or adapt or modify them so as to meet the needs and requirements of the students. This is very important. Keep in mind these things. You will need them. We have done with the definition of assessment. Let's move to what are the types of assessments. Actually, there are two main types of assessments. We have summative assessment and formative assessment. Actually, I highlighted for you some keywords from the two types in order to differentiate, to have a clear difference in mind between the two. Let's start with the summative assessment. It is often a formal type of assessment that is aimed at making judgments about the performance or ability of students by assigning grades to them. We have assigning grades because it is concerned with the final product. Summative assessment occurs periodically, not constantly, like momentary, either at the end of the year, semester, or two or more units, or two or more units. Representatives of summative assessments can be in the form of quizzes, exams, tests, and interim papers, interim projects. It focuses on the final product rather than the process. The focus of summative assessment is directed towards the final products rather than the process. Thus, it is assessment of learning and teaching. Recall and keep in mind these highlighted words and or keywords, and later on when I'll present before you the formative assessment, try to compare between the two types of assessments. Let's go on to the other type of assessments, which is formative assessment. It focuses on the process of learning. The teacher asks them to practice a structure or answer comprehension questions. It is in the form of comprehension questions or exercises. It takes place regularly and constantly in the form of concept checking questions, exercises, etc. What is the purpose of formative assessment? Its purpose is to receive data about students which can help the teacher adapt his or her teaching methods to meet their needs. Therefore, it is assessment for teaching and learning. These are the characteristics of formative assessments. Let's compare it with a summative assessment. We have summative assessment. Summative assessment focuses on the final product, whereas the formative assessment focuses on the process of learning. It occurs, the summative assessment occurs at the end or periodically rather than, however, formative assessment takes place regularly and constantly. Another point of comparison or difference, summative assessment, it's the purpose of summative assessment is to assigning grades to students, while formative assessment aimed or aims to receive data about students. Another point of comparison or dissimilarity, summative assessment is in the form of quizzes, exams, tests, interim papers, whereas formative assessment is in the form of concept or comprehension questions or concept checking questions and exercises. The last points of comparison, in difference, we have summative assessment. It is assessment of learning and teaching. Yet the formative assessment, it is an assessment for teaching and learning. These are what we mentioned. These are the points of disparities between the two types of assessments. Before we go, let's revise and have a revision of what we have done today. We started with the definition of assessment. We moved to the main types of assessments. There are two types. We have, as we said, we have summative assessment and formative assessment. And we highlighted and we pointed the main differences between the two assessments. So I have done this video today. Thank you for watching and following me, and see you in another new video. Thank you very much.